I can on Wednesday, but for example at 5:30.
But I can't. I mean, I usually attend the seminar for the whole semester. But there's another day you...
Then on Saturday.
Sunday?
Saturday.
Saturday?
Evening.
Not during the day.
That is not convenient.
It's not convenient?
I think.
I don't know. Maybe in the evening.
Okay. And any other day?
I can on Monday.
Monday? No? Any? No?
Monday is fine.
Monday's fine?
No.
No?
Evening.
Evening. But what about you on Wednesday, beginning of afternoon?
Could you elaborate at the beginning?
13:45.
Yeah.
So, it is, so, unless I missed something, I think it's the only slot we have only one person who cannot, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah.
So we have videos and you have my email address, and of course we don't hesitate to ask me if you, yeah. I'm sorry.
No.
Okay, was it fair? This choice?
Yes.
Okay.
Wednesday.
First, we keep this pattern, so we do twice a week, okay? Tuesday, 19:20, and Wednesday, 13:45. So this is to 19:20 to 21, and this is каждую среду, это можно на сале?
Можно.
Знаете, потому что я здесь пока коробку...
Да. Еще в среду выключить аудиторию, да?
Да. Можно?
Да.
Это?
Да.
Спасибо.
What kind of courses is it going to be? Is that at Wednesday?
So
I misheard that.
So I think so. At some point, I said I talked about doing some courses and some exercise, but I think maybe we can just meet and we do the following.
How many 2 days? Right.
Unless you have suggestions on the organization.
Well, Wednesday seems fine.
Okay.
What about tomorrow?
So tomorrow, everyone can.
Yep.
Who can usually on Wednesday can tomorrow? Okay, we can start tomorrow, and we will count at some point during the semester so that we don't, that we do the good number of hours that we're supposed to do. Still, for those who didn't write to me, even independently of this poll, you can write an email so that I have the list of everyone, and if possible, you tell me, you quickly introduce yourself, and by recalling me where you are studying, and if you have a specific interest in one course you had, or if there is some specific things that you once liked, even if you don't know exactly what it is, but something that you could be interested in, just to know. Okay? But if you really don't know what to write, at least write your names so that I have a list. And okay, so last week we did some kind of mixture of presentation of what is symbolic dynamics is, and the first definition, and it was kind of not always very formal, but
Yes, sir. Среду аудитория 310.
This is
Yeah.
okay. So now I think you all understood why I'm doing the course in English and not bothering you in with my Dutch. For the numbers is the word for me. I think a lot. Because this sounds like French 17. Anyway. Yeah. Anyway.
A bit like 12, probably.
Yes, but 17 is 17. Okay. So, yes, so just briefly so I didn't have anything to do with
No.
the camera.
It does it on its own.
So, hello, so,
No, it's because I have French courses.
Such a thing.
Sorry. So what about Sunday?
Sunday would. No.
Sunday? Okay.
no, I have one no, and two no's. Okay, so it's not better than Wednesday.
At the same time as
Monday, you said?
yeah, but Sunday 20 minutes after.
No, evening, I guess it's not the right time at
Why?
Monday. Because I have courses for little guys. So, well, the courses at Monday, which would start at 3 o'clock, for example, would be fairly comfortable.
Monday, 3 o'clock, but you can't.
Can you?
I can't earlier.
Sorry?
I cannot earlier than 20 minutes after.
Okay. By the way, on Tuesday, earlier?
No.
No, one no?
No.
Two no's. Okay. So Monday, we got one no? A second no somewhere? Monday? Two no's.
What about Friday?
Friday?
No.
One no?
No.
Friday, anytime?
At what time?
Did you say Friday?
Yeah, I said Friday, for example, 5 o'clock?
No.
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 Earlier?
No.
But you can't earlier?
I have no idea.
So Friday, who cannot at some time during the day? One person? Two? Okay, that's two no's. Let's forget about it. Whenever we get two no's,
Okay,
I think it's not...
Saturday evening.
Can we do in the
Saturday
morning?
there were two no's.
Can we do morning, probably?
Morning? Which one?
Yeah, probably some morning, like earlier than this, probably.
All the questions I asked so far were including the morning.
Ah.
But
Right, so Wednesday morning is fine.
Yeah, I think if it could be Wednesday before that time, it would be
Someone
fine.
said not in the morning, no?
After 12:30.
12:30? Just on Wednesdays or
Yeah.
any time?
Usually okay, but not
Yeah.
tomorrow, but usually it's okay.
We can say 12:30 if you want.
So
Then
that's fine.
then you meet
12:30.
Yeah, 12:30 to 2, right?
yes, to 10.
To 10, yeah. That's good.
I think it was.
Yeah, I think it's good.
So, when is your French class?
2 o'clock, but it's 5 here.
2 o'clock. But I think we can do it.
No, it's fine, I'll just
Until
ask
2.
guys what wants to
10
know.
is fine for everyone.
But I think we can do a little less, and because
But that's okay.
we are doing
I'm
more
okay
stuff
with-
during the. It will be right? Okay.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. If you want, I will finish the course in French.
No, I don't. I'm a beginner.
I think this has to be confirmed, this room.
And there will be no problems about that.
Yeah, okay, let's keep the same, but if there's a problem, it is... Okay, by the way, so you still cannot?
Yes.
Okay, anyone else? This time is okay?
Okay.
It's okay, okay. Okay, no one is arriving now? Okay, so the other thing I have said before you arrived is that everyone, I encourage everyone to write to me so that I have a list of people and to briefly, because I'm not sure I got your email, and briefly reintroduce yourself and say if you have a mathematical or computer scientific interest or not, or don't say anything. If you yes. So again, what is symbolic dynamics? It's so now starting the course. There are some organizational questions again. So symbolic dynamics. To summarize some things I said last week, it's born from the dynamical systems theory as a way to simplify the dynamical systems and to encode them, and it was even more popularized when we had to model, when we could model by the computer, because then you had a finite data which was encoding the dynamics. Actually, at least at some moment, there is a finite representation, because the main thing in symbolic dynamics is that you have an alphabet which is finite. And then, on the other side, in theoretical computer science, there was, during the 20th century, there was the subject of computation theory, computational models, which started with Turing machines in 1936, but after this, in the 40s, with von Neumann, with Cellular automata, then there were the tilings by Wang in the 60s, which were introduced for logical reasons. And all of these, at the end of the 20th century, resulted to be the same as the questions that arose from symbolic dynamics in the multidimensional setting. So the natural extensions of the things that people were doing since a long time in symbolic dynamics, in one-dimensional symbolic dynamics, the natural extensions to multidimensional appear to be more or less the same objects that had been introduced in the second half of the 20th century for computational models. So we will try to have an overview of this during the course. And now let me recall the definitions, and maybe through the first results we will look at some exercises that you all did, of course. So, symbolic dynamics, I introduced it as the trait of a dynamical system, so it was easier to have to look at the set of configurations of infinite words like this. But let's, for the course, let's focus on maybe on A to the Z for now. So I think, yes, I think we can focus on A to the ZB, and at some point I will restrict to A to the Z. But there are many things that still work for A to the N. So what I say is that we endow this space with the product topology. What is it? I think I said it also. It's the topology that is generated by the projections at each coordinate. And each projection, I think I gave a name. So, AI is a set of configurations which have x index I equals A. So the elements in this, I don't know them in the functional notations. You have seen this. I know them like some kind of sequence. Okay? And here A is in A, I is in Z to the D, and for all A and I, we can define this symbol cylinder. And by definition, the product topology is generated by this. Which means that what does it mean that the topology is generated by this? Every open set yes, finite intersections, of course. So this is, at some point I mentioned the name sub-base, and a base of the topology would be something that, such that every open set can be written as a union just of this. And there is a very natural base for this topology, which is a set of cylinders. These are symbol cylinders. And cylinders. So if U now is in A to the, so is it clear that this is a small u and this is a capital U, because you see that there is no so U is in Z to the D and it's finite. So I will write this symbol to say that U is finite. Okay, it's included in Z to the D and it's finite. And now, U is a map from capital U to A. This is called a finite pattern. And the cylinder is set of x such that x restricted to u equals u. So this notation again is, you understand what it means? It's a map when I restrict to u. Okay? So restriction.
Probably people are used to see the restriction with slash.
A bar, yes.
A bar, probably.
Yes. I can put it now,
Sure.
but then you will have to tell me each time I can put it. So you're getting into something very... Okay.
Sorry, distracting you.
No, please tell me if there is some notation you find much more natural, or if there is something I say that you would say differently and you think, I mean, don't tell me, don't interrupt it, it's just that you would say it differently, but if you would say it differently and you think that all the other people would also agree with you, and it would be easier for everyone, please interrupt me, because you know, sometimes even if we try to speak English, in mathematical culture in different countries, maybe we can, I mean, even inside the same country, I think many colleagues don't agree with my usual terminology. So, can you see that this is a base? So, every open set can be written as y.
Intersection of the finite number of cylinders which are just cylinders for a letter. Just take a letter of the word U and write it. Take a letter from this word U and write a cylinder for it and to intersect them.
Are you proving that this is open?
It's open?
You're proving that this is open, or
Yeah, it's open.
that's what you're saying? Okay. Okay. So yes. So what you're saying that
Can you write it as intersection is over the finite set which is like
let's introduce yes.
yes over U.
Let's introduce the notation U. Maybe this is the support of U. Support of the pattern. Okay? So now you're saying I is the support of U. I. Okay, this is open. Is it enough to show that this is a base?
In short, every intersection has this representation.
Yes, exactly. Is it true? Yes, it's actually even, I mean, there is nothing more to write. So if you have an intersection of open set from the subbase, it always looks like this. And you build a pattern, you just consider the pattern. I mean, unless you stupidly take the same, it doesn't always look like this. Maybe you have an intersection where you have two cylinders that you place at the same place, at the same eye, if you are a little stupid. Then either you chose the same letter and then you can just remove one, or you choose two different letters and then the set is empty. So then you can just say, okay, of course the base representation doesn't work for the empty set. set has no representation like this. But if it's not empty, then it means that you don't have incoherent symbol cylinders in your intersection, and so you can build pattern which corresponds exactly to this intersection. So every open set is a union of some cylinders. Maybe of some set F of finite pattern. Okay, this is clear. So now every closed set, what can you say about this? So last week we had an exercise about characterizing the closed sheaf invariant set. So now it's simpler. So it's part of your exercise. It's the first part of your exercise. Just closed set. Can you say something? Because the good thing in this space is that you have a formalization of all topological properties and objects into something which is more combinatorial, which is more language theoretical. This is very helpful for embedding into computation, but also for even human mental representation can be helped by this. So what is a closed set in general in a topological space? In general?
In general, any amount of intersections is also closed, for example.
But even more simple than this, it's a complement of an open set. So here it's the complement of the union of cylinders.
So it's intersection of orthogonal.
Yes. So what does it mean? You are not in a cylinder?
One variable constant.
Sorry?
One index simple set.
So what does it mean you are in the cylinder? Imagine you are in the cylinder. It means
you isolated the right place.
okay, and if you are not in the cylinder,
You don't have.
you is forbidden in this place, in some sense. So this is the set of configurations. By the way, yes, you understood that D is a natural integer. For you, this what is this? What's the first element? First element is 1. Okay.
Yeah.
It's very weird, but I will use it for now. For all I in z to the d, xi, no, all u in some f, x restricted to the support of u is not u. Okay? This is just the complementary. So now, closed set, a closed shift invariant set. So I recall that sigma invariant means sigma to the k invariant for every k. And sigma to the k, what is it? It's the map from A to the Z. A to the Z to the D to itself, such that for all x and for all I Z to the D, sigma of x index I equals x I plus k. It's really what you think. You have a coloring of Z to the D, and you shift. And you get a new coloring, which is nearly the same, except that you change the problem. You change the point of view. So how can you get some kind of characterization of closed shift invariant sets, which are called subshifts? I gave the definitions also. I don't know, so subshift, I don't know if you understand why it's called subshift. So there is a dynamical system which is called a shift on A to the Z to the D. Shift map is a dynamical system in the sense that it's a self-map of this topological space which is continuous, and you can study the iterates and the orbits. And subshift, because it's a subsystem of the shift map. To be a subsystem, you have to be sigma invariant. Otherwise, it means the map could go out of the system. It's not really a dynamical system. You have to be closed because we generally consider compact dynamical system. But in the notation, we forget. Since subshift means the map is always sigma, is always the map sigma to the k, we forget the map in the notation because the properties really come from the set. Implicitly, we know that when we say subshift, it's a set, and we know which map we are studying, and this is why the reason it's called subshift. But actually, it's in the notation it will denote only the set. So by the way, I said that it's a topological dynamical system, but actually in Z to the D you may have D different self-maps which generate the whole action of Z to the D. So there is a notion of abstract dynamical system, which is the continuous action of a group. So, but I won't talk about this. But this is you see that it's a particular case. But you can see it as generated by Z dynamical systems. So either you look at this and you try to adapt it to get some equivalence here, Or you remember the one I said last week, which is exactly the answer. How can you characterize subshifts in terms of patterns and occurrences? So here you see that it's really some kind of anchored definition. I'm looking at a set, and at some position I shouldn't have this kind of pattern. From now on, we are looking at shift invariant properties. So when you forbid one pattern somewhere, then you forbid it everywhere. Okay? So I recall what I said last week. The set of configurations such that for every pattern in this family and for every I in D to the D, X restricted to the support of U plus I is not U. Okay, it's clear? I forbid it everywhere. So, quick proof of this. So, if it's closed, it will be like this. And if it's shift invariant, it's really what I said, then every U which is forbidden should also be forbidden everywhere. If you have one configuration X and one I such that you have this equal to U, then you can shift by I and you're supposed to stay in the subshift, but you're actually no more in this closed set here.
I don't understand which closed sets are not sigma invariant.
Which closed set are not sigma invariant? Okay, let's give a simple example. Someone has an example? So let's...
Maybe let's assume our set, maybe infinite set is natural number, and we can use all strings which start with 0.
Yes. So this is... But even if it's not the set of natural numbers, if it's D to the D, you can put the cylinder 0. So 0. This is it's open and closed. Yes, it's clopen. I didn't invent this word. So we said that it's open. What's the easiest way to see that it's closed?
Like it's complemented, just one.
Yes. If A is bigger, it's the intersection of the complement of A where A is a different symbol. Complement, I don't know how you write it. Okay? So, by the way, maybe here I should have written the clopen set. The clopen set, they should be both open and closed, which means that they are a union of cylinders. But their complement is also a union of cylinders. Okay? So if you take the union of these two unions of cylinders, you get what?
Yeah.
So, yes, you have an open set, it's a union of cylinders. You have its complement, it's a union of cylinders because I'm assuming it's a open set. Okay? And when I do the union, I get everything. So, but it's a union of open sets. So, what does it make you think about? It's a union of open sets which is equal to everything.
Everything should be open to.
Yeah, but actually in topological space, everything is always open.
Yeah.
But here we also assume that it's compact. We assume, but actually I think we proved it. We didn't prove it last week.
No, I think it was an exercise.
Yeah. Okay, I think I said by the theorem of Tikhonov, but if you're interested, we can do a quick proof because it's a very particular case of Tikhonov's theorem. Tikhonov's theorem states that the product, any kind of product, even uncountable, of compact space is compact. But here we have a countable product of not only compact but finite space, A. So it's a very particular case of Tikhonov's theorem. If you're interested, we can do a quick proof. But before this, because I think I'm opening many parentheses, so let's assume compactness, and let's finish what I was saying. So in a open set, it's a union of open sets. Its complement is a union of open sets. We get a union of open sets which is equal to the whole set which is compact. What's the definition of compact?
Finite.
Yes. Exactly. So there is a finite subcover which is equal to the whole set. But since the two unions were disjoint, it means that there is a finite, you can intersect the cover with the first part of the cover with the second part, and you get a finite subcover of each of the two. So it means that a Klopen set is a finite union of cylinders. Or equivalently, it's the set defined like this, but with a finite number of forbidden patterns. Okay, you understand? It's not the same S, it's a complement, by the way. So I will put F prime in the two notation. When you cannot read my writing, you tell me. So these are the two characterizations of Klopen set. Okay. So in particular, if you have, by the way, I think we proved only one arrow, but the other direction is even simpler because you see that any of these two are equivalent, and there are particular cases of these two. They are equivalent because when you have a finite number of patterns, then you can assume they all have the same support possibly by adding some by adding some patterns, by expanding the patterns in all possible ways, and then with the same support you can complement, and you get the other representation. So in particular, just one cylinder is closed and open. So Yes, so the set of all possible colorings of the plane, configurations which are 0 in the middle, is closed. Do you have an example of a closed set which is not open?
Circle in F.
Okay, but here in this space. No. No. Precisely, not shift invariant, because this was the question.
Shift invariant set is the example. Closed but not open.
Okay, it can be an example. Yes, you had an example of.
It should be the whole space.
Okay.
Whole space is shift invariant.
Yes.
Of course, non-trivial.
But okay, but for now, just a non-shift invariant for now. Let's say. Because this was the original question.
But what is the question?
Give me a closed set.
Point.
Yes, okay. Thank you. I was expecting at least this example. But sometimes it's shift invariant.
Okay, non-periodical point.
Yes, okay. This is an example. So now maybe an example which is not finite and which is not open.
Orbit?
Orbit by the shift. So if it's periodic, it's finite, and if it's not periodic, it's not closed.
Maybe the set of words which don't have particular symbol within them.
Okay, but this is shift invariant. But for example, you can say so. But let's look at this example, but because it's interesting. But for example, if I say the set of configurations such that for all, then I take an infinite. For it not to be open, I take an infinite condition for all I in some let's call let's say S xi equals 0, where S is in D to the D. So if S is infinite, then this is closed but not open. If it's finite, you see that it's exactly. Yes. So you see that you can turn this kind of condition into this kind of condition because it's a for all. Okay. If it was there exists, then it would be open.
S is infinite.
And if S is infinite, then it's not open. So for example, every configuration which has 0 on the right half. Simplest example.
But S is the whole Z, then it's point.
Yes. Yes. But for example, the simplest example, S is a semi-space. Something like this. Okay? This is closed. Is it clear for everyone that this is a closed set? An open set would be the complement, for example. The complement is an open set, of course. I forbid I forbid the whole half space to be zeros. So there must be at least one non-zero in the half plane. With an open, non-closed set. But maybe...
But if you forbid x is not equal to 0.
Yes, it is. So I was taking the complement. The complement of this set is there exists I.
The complement, yes.
Okay. So the complement, it means that the half space is not only zeros. This is typically an open set. Do you have a better intuition now? So maybe for the intuition we can do the proof of compactness. Yes, so I have a two-dimensional board, so let's imagine that t equals d equals 2. So, you know the sequential characterization of compactness, that
select convergent subsequence, never sequence,
yes,
compact.
okay,
Yeah.
exactly. So you take a sequence of configurations. So, since I took this notation of x index I to denote the letter, for sequences, sometimes I will put indices in exponents. You understand? It's not something, it's not a power of something, it's really a sequence, okay? Okay, so we want to extract a converging subsequence. What does it mean to converge?
Well, it will reach below some epsilon within an infinite number of elements.
Yes.
I think for our case it will be just constant.
No, it won't be constant, but
The first.
say it in Russian if you want.
The tail of sequences to the right. Yeah, right.
The what?
The tail of sequence from any finite index is stabilized.
Tail?
Tail.
Of the tail of
The end of each sequence.
You can find such maybe n big that for every small n bigger than this n big, we have some constant value.
I think you're approaching the good answer, but maybe I'm not sure. So can you repeat for all?
For all n, natural n.
All
That's that. For each big M bigger than M.
the first n elements are equal.
Yes, you're saying the first, and they were saying the last. I think.
Okay.
But I think you're right. The first.
The first.
I mean. So. By the way, it depends. So, maybe you have this in mind. Maybe it's simpler.
Yes.
Okay. So for all n, but let me keep this, because then we really realize what is this n and what is this c to the d. So we have to write for all I in z to the d. There is an n. There is an n. So, but you were you had the good idea. Or M superior N. Yes, sorry. Sm. Oops. Sm index I equals xn index I. Okay, so this, more or less, just this part, is, it comes from the continuity of the map that projects to the ice coordinate. So, you see, we don't need to speak about distance here. We have a definition of product topology which is based on something. So, you just want to say that for every open set around the limit, so in particular every cylinder, you will get into this cylinder ultimately. So you can also change this to every finite
bar.
The restriction.
Oh. Yes, but then it looks like EU. Okay. But if you prefer. Was it more or less a proof, or do you want to do a formal proof as an exercise that this sequence converges if and only if this? So I propose you do, sorry? Yes?
Okay.
I propose you, if I mean, you can do it as an exercise at home, and you can come with any question if it's
Can
necessary.
you use the fact that this tool is centralized?
If you want, you can use it, but I really think it's useless here. But you mean for this or to prove compactness?
No, just the
Just
convergence
for this?
equals to this. Because it's just like a fundamental sequence.
Yes, okay. Yes, you can say this. If you, of course, if you prefer, we can talk about distance. Sometimes it helps because the balls.
Am I right that this topology, it has a metric which we defined last time? So,
Yes, we defined it on A to the N, but there is a similar metric here. So, V of xy equals, so we want, so now we don't, so we say that x and y are very close if they share a big finite pattern in the middle. So maybe we can use the notation of the norm of VB and write that 2 to the mean xi is different from xi. So this means what? This means that, in other words, and I think that's the only thing that we use actually for the distance, that the topology is based on the cylinders U, the topology is based on the U for U, the support of U equals minus n to the d. So this notation here, this bracket, it's like the set. You understand? It's all the okay. It's minus n plus 1, minus 1, n. Okay. So U is actually the ball of radius for this metric. It's actually the ball of radius 2 to the minus n around center in yeah, but U is not a point of the space, but it's centered in any element of the cylinder. They all have the same ball.
Because why it's called cylinder, actually.
Sorry?
Explains why it's called cylinder, because if you think about cylinder in Euclidean space, you can think about like a nested like sequence of disks. And I think about cylinder in like R2 as maybe like a Cartesian product of disk and well.
I never saw it like this. Okay. I don't know.
In any element
Of the cylinder itself. So you take any configuration which has U in the middle, you take its ball, and it's equal to the whole cylinder. By the way, this is a property of I always get confused with this name. Ultrametric? Ultrametric?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Ultrametric space. Ultrametric is, I don't want to write it because it's not very important, but it means you have a metric, but instead of the triangular inequality, you have inequality of the max instead of the sum. So, yes. So here, you see that if you are going to between a configuration to something which is not in a cylinder, then at some point, even if you're doing little steps, you want to decompose your path between two configurations which are not in the same cylinder of U. At some point, one of the little steps will have distance n, at least 2 to the minus n. Right. This is what it means. You cannot do like in R, like to do little paths. So this is exactly related to total disconnectedness. So every Cantor space is an ultrametric space. Okay? So if it helps, you can think of these balls like, so a ball is, you fit, so now you're in V2, you fit the U, this is fit, and then this is relaxed, and the ball is really all of this. Why did I say that we don't really care about the metric? Because the only property that we are using is that this is a base. So if you take the other, I think I gave another metric, any metric which could rely on this and is decreasing, then everything I say will remain true. But if it helps, you can think about the metric. So, instead we prove compactness. I think we didn't yet.
It's 8:30.
Maybe we can keep compactness and go forward. matrix flows from different
Yes, okay. But, yes. But it's a good exercise to do for those who want to interpret the topology. I suggest that you try to prove compactness without assuming sequence theorem, but directly by trying to find a unit point in every sequence. Okay. Yes. So if you want, you can start by a to the n, but it's much more difficult than you replace this prefixes thing with central patterns. Anyway, let's continue this kind of dictionary, which is important. A continuous map from A to the D to B doesn't have to be the same. Let's put a D prime. Not very important. So a map is continuous if and only if for all I in D to the D prime there exists, so let's call it phi. There exists phi I. There exists phi I from UI, which is finite in D to the D, and finite and phi I from UI, from A to UI to B, such that for all x in A to the D to the D, and for all I what have I written? So let's take D equals D prime equals 1. I have a configuration, I have colors in every point of Z, and I have a map which maps possibly to another alphabet. Okay? And I'm saying it's continuous. So let's say that this is cell 0. Okay, I didn't align things correctly. Okay, I fixed cell 0. So, since it's continuous, what is the best definition of continuous? Yes, it's the best definition. The preimage of an open set is open. In particular, the preimage, or equivalently, because we have a base, the preimage of a cylinder is open. It's not necessarily a cylinder, but it's open. It's even clopen because the cylinder is clopen. So it means that if I have a letter here, say A, this represents a cylinder, and the set of configurations which give me A in the central cell should be a Klopen set. Okay? Because the pre-image of an open set is open, but then the pre-image of a closed set is closed also. So the pre-image of a Klopen set is Klopen. So the pre-image of a cylinder is Klopen, and then we know that it's a union of cylinders, finitely many cylinders. Which means that there is a list of finitely many patterns, finite patterns. So if there are finite patterns, I can always think of them as central pattern, like this, connected. There is U, which gives me A in the middle. There is some V, maybe not exactly the same support, but it gives me A in the middle. So here I will recall a remark that I said already before. For Klopen sets, you can always assume, you can always find such a representation such that all the U's in S have the same support. Why is it so? Why is it so? Because you can take S equals the union of support of U for U in S. This is a finite union of finite sets, so this is finite. And then you replace every U by union of V for V in A to the S, such that V restricted to support of U.
Oh, can you increase the font, please?
You see, you want me to write in the wall?
No, but what the point is? No one can see that.
No, you're right, you're right. Sorry, then I do. Okay. So V is in A to the S, and V restricted to support of U equals U. Okay? So if you have a cylinder, what I'm saying is that if you have a cylinder U, I'm still in Z and I'm still assuming it's connected, I don't care, it's the same. What I'm saying is that this cylinder is equal to the union, for example, if I just extend it by one step to the right, U is the union is equal to UA and UB. Okay, this is a language abuse because because it's supposed to be here. It's supposed to be a map from the set, from a finite set to A. But you understand that this is the map that maps the same set to U and the additional cell to A. Okay? So the set of configurations which have U in the middle is exactly the set of configurations which have UA or UB. Sorry. Here A equals AB. Yes. Maybe so this was in a binary alphabet, and in a general alphabet, you get this. So you extend U by all possible extensions, and you get exactly the same set. This is what I'm saying here. You do this for every pattern until you have reached a common shape here. So you can always assume that this support is the same. And it's interesting here because then it means that there is a finite shape of Z to the B, here it's Z, and the list of patterns that I see on this shape, such that when I see a pattern of this list, I'm sure that after applying phi, I get A in the central cell. Okay, so you can do the same for if it's not the central set. I mean, I don't care about this one. So what I'm saying is that phi minus 1 of this is Clopen, so it's a union of V for V F, and such that they have the same support. Maybe I can write directly F equals included in A to the F. Okay, now I just said that it's Clopen, and I use this property that you can suppose they are the same. Now if I do this for all possible A's, so maybe let me index this by A and this by A. So of course it also depends on I, but I just index by A. Because now I want to do it for all possible A's. Now, let S be the union of all SA's. So, A, by the way, A is in alphabet B. It's not in alphabet A. So, I have this list of patterns that give me A. I have another list of patterns that give me little b here. I have a third list of patterns that give me little c. But I have finitely many letters, so I have a finitely many finite lists. So again, my patterns can be thought of as having the same support. This is the common support, possible support. And then you can see that if x and y are such that the restriction to S is the same, then then they should have a common pattern inside S, so they should have a common pattern inside one of these Y, because so I just erase this. So one of you who writes me a letter, an email, you also write to me what we have decided with the date. But I think I will remember, but just to be sure. Yes, note that the phi minus 1 of A this is the partition of B to the B to the B prime. Okay? Every configuration has one symbol in position I. So they are all in one, sorry, I mixed two things. This is a partition of B to the B prime, so this is a partition of A to the B to the B. Okay? Because all configurations have one letter in position I. It's disjunct, it's clear, they cannot have two. And since it takes pre-image, disjunct unions are preserved. So, if X and Y are such that you have this, then they should be in one of these sets. But these sets can be expressed as a union of cylinders which have a support which is included in S. So I should have written this here. Sorry. If X and Y are such that X, Y belong to the same phi minus 1 of A to the I. Okay? You understood why? So I have two configurations which agree on this big support, which is bigger than all supports that were involved in the pre-images. Then, of course, they will map to the same A's. So you can define a map phi I from A to the X to B as W as A such that for X in W psi of X equals A. It is a good definition because we showed that it's A. This proves that every continuous map can be written like this, and conversely, every map like this is continuous. It's easier. So we need to show that the pre-image of an open set is open. We need to show more easily that the pre-image of a cylinder is open. even the pre-image of a symbol cylinder is open. It's enough. And what is the pre-image of a symbol cylinder? If we assume phi is built from something like this, the pre-image of some symbol cylinder like this, by definition, it's given by phi I minus 1 so maybe I didn't introduce this notation, so maybe union for V for W in phi I minus 1 of A of W. Okay, so what have I just said? I've said that if you have some kind of local rule which gives you the new state for cell I depending on only on a finite neighborhood somewhere, a finite shape, then it's equivalent to say this than to say that the pre-image of the cylinder based on this cell I is a union of cylinders based on this finite neighborhood. Are there questions, or maybe you want to, or maybe you want to take it calmly at home and bring questions tomorrow?
Yeah.
52?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe some exercise.
Yes, exercise. So the same. So can you imagine what I want next? So we had open and closed sets and subshifts. Here we add a shift invariant set. Now I have continuous maps, and I want continuous maps which are shift invariant, and this will be one of the main functions in the course. So you can do this for tomorrow. Try to find. It's not a very precise question, but I think you more or less understand what we get. So phi is continuous, let's say phi from A to the Z to the D to B to the Z to the, here I take the same D, continuous and shift invariant. What is the most elegant characterization you can find? Okay, and this is for tomorrow. So maybe you want more, or I will give you more tomorrow. Who wants more? Okay. So maybe this is good for tomorrow, and tomorrow we will check what you did, and we will speak of subshifts of finite type in dimension 1, and yes.
So tomorrow I study at
3:10. Okay, maybe I can. No, she has left. Okay, maybe we find it. Let's say 3:10, and if there's a problem, there will be a big paper saying whether
Weekend?
No, the room. It's then at room 14, so 12:30. If you have questions, don't hesitate.
Sorry, is there any literature where I can read?
Okay, so those whom I received, from whom I received an email, I sent them some notes, and there are references. So, yes, Marcus will talk more about. So what I do, so about this topological thing, and see